Okay, I think it's going to work. So what we were just talking about is this is how to find the endpoint. Every segment has two ends, okay? Today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to find the end if you already know the midpoint. So what we were just doing, let's graph example 1. M is the midpoint of segment AB. That's what that means, segment AB. A is located at 5, 2. I'm going to label. M, which is the middle, M is located at 2, 0. That would be here. So what you should be able to do is, if this is my segment AB, and this is the middle, can't you tell that B is going to be somewhere over here? Okay, so what we just talked about doing was counting the pattern, okay? From A to M, if I count, I would be going down 2 and then over 1, 2, 3. If I keep doing that pattern, down 2, over 1, 2, 3, that's where B lands. And if you connected them with a straight line, M should look like it's directly in the middle.
I had it backwards.
Okay. You thought this was the end and that was the middle?
No, I meant like, I had the A backwards.
Oh, gotcha. So, the last question is, what are the coordinates for B? Well, now we know this is where B is, so what's the ordered pair for this? -1, -2. Now, that's how to do it with a graph. Now what I want to do, and this is where it gets tricky, can get tricky, I want to talk about how to do this without the graph. So, human 1 discovered a while ago that we could do the formula. I want to show you an easier way to do it. Okay? So, what I'm fixing to show you is how to solve this problem without graphing and without doing that long, complicated formula. There's a better way, okay? And this is a method that I call the line up method. Obviously, stands for them. Line them up. That's what we're doing. We're going to line them up, okay? And this is going to show you a little trick. And it's basically what we were doing up here, where we just find the pattern, down 2 over 3, down 2 over 3. We're going to find the pattern, but we're going to be able to do it without the graph. Okay, so let's look at example 2. It says P is the midpoint of NQ. P is located at 5, 4. N is located at 6, 3. I want to know the coordinates for Q. Keep in mind, you should always pay attention. Q is part of the ends. Okay, it starts at N, ends at Q. P is the middle. Now here's what you do for the line them up method. You put the middle point, hang on, you list all 3 points, okay? You put the middle or the midpoint right here. Now, what point did we just read was the midpoint? P is, right? So P, 5, 4, goes in the middle. 5, 4. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the other point that we've been given and we're going to put it at the top. They told us N is at 6, 3, so it goes here.
And we subtracted?
Pretty much. Okay, what you're doing is you're looking for a pattern. You're going to look at your X's. These are both of the X's, right? And then you're going to look at your Y's and you're going to find the pattern. We're just finding the pattern without the graph.
5, 4.
Well, what did they do to get from 6 to 5?
Subtract 1.
Subtracted 1. So if we continue that pattern and we subtract 1 again, what's 5 minus 1? 4, like human 1 said. And human 2. And then now we do the pattern on the Y. On this side, they got from 3 to 4 by doing what? Adding 1. So if we continue that pattern, adding 1 would give us 5. So that means my other endpoint is at 4, 5. That is my answer. Yeah. Okay. Again, you only do this line them up method if they already tell you the midpoint. This method helps you find the missing end, which in this case was 4, 5. Now, sometimes they're not quite that easy. This one was easy because we're minusing 1 and plussing 1. When you get negatives involved, that's when people seem to get confused. So let's look at example 3. E is the midpoint of FG. Here's where E is, here's where G is. So we're going to do our line them up method. In the middle, make sure you put your midpoint. So what did they say the midpoint was?
E.
E. That would be this one. Negative 1, 5 must go in the middle. Now, G, it doesn't matter if it's the first or the last. We're always going to put it on top. Just make sure your middle goes here. Must go there. G, I'm going to put it at the top. 3, 9. Okay. We're going to find our patterns. Now, you two, I think, are probably pretty good with your negatives and stuff. Some of my kids are not. If I'm going from 3 to negative 1, am I adding or am I subtracting? I'm subtracting. I'm going to go ahead and put a minus sign. I know I'm subtracting.
4.
You might be able to figure out that you're subtracting 4, but what if I'm not very good at that kind of math? How do I figure out what I'm subtracting? Calculator is your best friend, and what you're going to do is you're going to subtract these two things, okay? If you don't know, you're going to take the second one and subtract the first one. Negative 1 minus 3 gives me negative 4, or in other words, minus 4. Now, if I'm not sure, type this in the calculator, 3 minus 4, and make sure it gives you this guy right here. If it doesn't give you that, your pattern is wrong. Okay, so minus 4 is my pattern. Now all I got to do is continue the pattern. Negative 1 minus 4 tells me that the next number in my pattern is negative 5. And then now we do the other side. This one's a little easier because they're positive numbers. How do I get from 9 to 5? Minus what? 4. That one's a little easier because we're talking about positive numbers. But if you didn't know, take this one and subtract that one. It gives you minus 4. That tells you. Okay. Continue the pattern. Take this number, subtract 4, and we get 1. So that means my other end isn't negative 5, 1. I'm not going to rewrite it. That's my answer.
The easiest way is to tell that those two are switched.
This to this? Not necessarily. That happened here. Here it didn't happen because this one was negative and that one was positive. That doesn't always happen. Human 1, that doesn't always happen. Okay? That it was just a coincidence twice in a row. Let's look at another one. Let's hope it doesn't happen here. Because it doesn't always. I like calling you human 1.
Why?
I just do. Yeah, it's good.
Alright, human 2.
Okay, here we go. T, we're going to do one more, maybe one or two more together, and then y'all are going to do some by yourself. So, T is the midpoint of AM. A is at 5, 8. T is at 4, 3. What are the coordinates? Now, this time, whoever made the problem up, which would be me, tried to trick you because they put stuff in a different order. But we're not going to be tricked. We know that what goes in the middle is the midpoint. What's the midpoint? T, which would be 4, 3. It must go in the middle. So where are we going to put A? 5, 8. That goes on top. And then find your patterns. This one's a pretty easy one to find. To get from 5 to 4, they obviously just subtracted 1. Continue that pattern. 4 minus 1 is 3. Over here, to get from 8 to 3, what did they do? Subtracted
7.
No. Okay, if we're stuck, they subtracted 5. If we're stuck, type this minus that in the calculator. That's your best friend. Minus 5 is what they did. So we're going to subtract 5 more. 3 minus 5 gives us negative 2. That time it didn't happen where they were switched. It doesn't usually happen. Sometimes it does. You think I'm lying to you. All right, let's try example. Actually, let's skip example 5. Let's do example. I want you to do that one by yourself in a minute. Let's do example 7. Sure. All right, T is the midpoint of DF. T is located at 1, negative 2. D is located at negative 3, negative 8. So we're going to set up our problem with our 3 points. Which one goes in the middle? T, which is 1, negative 2. And then we're going to put D above that one, negative 3, negative 8. When we get these negatives involved, sometimes people get confused. So this might be tricky to you. To get from a negative number to a positive number, are you adding or subtracting? To get from a negative to a positive? Nope. Okay. we're going to use the calculator, and we are going to subtract these. 1 minus negative 3 gives us 4. And since that's a positive 4, that means they added 4. Check yourself, check yourself, check yourself. In the calculator, type in negative 3 plus 4. Make sure that this is what you get. If this is what you get, 1, that means that's the correct pattern. So continue the pattern. Plus 4, that would be 5. Okay, other side. Now this one's really tricky when you have two negatives. This one minus this one will give you your pattern. Whoops. I got 6, that means plus 6. Check it before you go any further. Check. Negative 8 plus 6, make sure it gives you this one. It does. So that means continue the pattern. Negative 2 plus 6, positive 4. That's our answer. Okay, now I want you to go back and try examples 5 and 6.
Alright.
Alright. I'm afraid that because you weren't writing any of this stuff down, you're just writing down the middle stuff, you're not going to remember how you did it. Okay, that's literally the key to this. Alright, example 5, you got it set up right. The middle is what? Negative 1, negative 6. Okay, then the other point is 2, 9. That goes up here. Okay, when you get these negatives involved, I know that that gets tricky. To find your pattern, you subtract. What do you subtract? The second one minus the first one. Second minus first. So I'm going to subtract negative 1 minus 2. Negative 3. That means my pattern is 2 minus 3. Check yourself. 2 minus 3, make sure it gives you that. It does. That means this pattern is correct. So continue the pattern of subtracting 3. Take this answer, subtract 3. Looks like negative 4 is my first number. Make sense?
Yeah.
Human 2, did you get that?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, now we're going to find the pattern here. Again, this is tricky. When one of them's negative, it's tricky.
Differently, but I got this answer.
Hang on just a second. Subtract negative 6 minus 9. We get minus 15, so that means the pattern is to subtract 15. I better check it, make sure. 9 minus 15 gives you negative 6. Okay, continue pattern of subtracting 15. And we get negative 21, so that's my final answer. Negative 4, negative 21. Okay, human 1, you can tell me, what did you do? I mean, human 2, what did you do? Sorry. Yeah, you said you did something different.
Okay, so I want to see like which one for negative 2 and or 2 and negative 1.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see which one, like how much would it take for it to go, like if I'm minusing until I got the right answer.
Ah, okay, so she knew to get from here to here, you minused. She was like, I don't know how many to minus, so if I subtract 1, nope, that's not enough. If I subtract 2, no, that's not enough. If I subtract 3, boom, that must be my pattern. Okay, that'll work. Sometimes you might be doing that all day long, but that'll work, okay? So minus 3. Did you do that over and over and over again until you found 15?
Or go around and up, which I think we're gonna.
Okay, so she guessed. On the second one, she said, all right, maybe it's minus 12. Not quite. Maybe it's minus 14. Not quite. Minus 15. Oh, there it is. Okay, that works. That's kind of a... If you don't remember how to find your pattern, which this is how you find your pattern. If you don't remember how to find your pattern, you can always guess and check till you get your pattern. Okay, example 6. Our middle is what? Y, and that is 4, 3. And then this one's going to be negative 5, 3, and then we don't know this one. So, first thing I want to do is find my pattern. To find your pattern, subtract them. 4 minus negative 5 gives me 9. Just plain old 9. That must mean positive 9. So let's do the pattern. Negative 5 plus 9 is 4. 4 plus 9 is 13. Now over here, this one kind of stumped human 1 because he was overthinking it. To get from 3 to 3, to get from 3 to 3, what do you add or subtract? Nothing, right? You add 0. So if I add 0 more, it stays at 3. So my final answer is 13.3. All right, we're going to practice this tomorrow. I had originally planned on doing a Kahoot today, but this went longer than I meant for it to, so that's it.